Everyone, this is Manjabin Galoch from Pakistan, and you're watching my YouTube channel Insani Itihad, which aims to invoke a little bit of humanity in all of us through awareness and understanding. There has been a roar and discussion and contamination of many celebrities who have outspoken regarding their anti-Semitic views and against the Jews. I wanted to make and talk about. I wanted to make a video about that. The reason I didn't, one was I was extremely busy. Two, I kind of felt that this will give these people undue attention. I strongly feel that these people are so irrelevant that, people. Okay, I would not say that I am some very relevant person, but I think I'm against giving such people who are maybe they're going through their own miseries in life or their own shortcomings. That's why they have no way to sort of handle their lives and their shortcomings. And history has shown that humanity, whenever it has felt the lowest and has felt insecure, it has blamed the ones who are who have the courage to strive and better themselves despite of whatever harsh circumstances they have. They still have that hope and courage to move forward and better life and better their surrounding, and they find it as a blessing. I think the most sacred Jewish concept which has kept me going, and there has been many times in my life where I have felt that my life has no significance. I have no significance. Why do I exist? And there are so many challenges that I cannot do anything, or I cannot change my life. I cannot change my circumstances. Then what is the point of living? And I think Judaism, back and forth, again and again, time and again, have given me that hope that no, being human, having that courage to somehow alter your circumstances. And even our we're reading this parshat where Yaakov is going through his struggles of family life, and he's alone. He's leaving his parents, he's leaving his brother, he's feeling insecure, threatened from his own family, going to an alien land, working so hard to make his life and start a family and to be with the love of his life. Our matriarchs and patriarchs have strived. If you ask what is the most eminent quality in the Jewish history, which is depicted in the Torah, is the courage to strive, the courage to go against our circumstances and still have the hope to better the life, better the circumstances, and have hope that no, despite all the evilness, despite all this challenge, despite all this, the tough times and this emotional trauma, there is hope. There is a reason to live. There is a reason to strive to bring the divinity into this world, into that. I mean, humans are much more than what their circumstances define them. A dog, a cat, a tree, a planet is so is enslaved in its circumstances and its situations. But humans are the only species who can not only you know, stand out and, change their circumstances, alter their destinies, and alter their course in the future. But they have the ability to change the entire situation, the entire circumstances, from evilness to godliness. I think humans and humanity is the only key which can bring divinity and, this this entity that we say that it's the creator and Hashem and Allah and Waheguru and, God is that entity which exists beyond the, realms of time and space. We can only have our challenges and our bad and struggling circumstances in this realm of time and space. And if we see that with time and with the space our circumstances change, all the bad things, all our negative feelings through time and through space, they eventually alter, they eventually change. All we need to have is this courage to stand and defy our circumstances and our, our challenges. We need to stand firm against our challenges under whatever circumstances and say that no, we as humans, we as humanity are bigger than the environment which, kind of tries to break us and tries to make us nothing but animals and reduces us to nothingness, reduces us to our sexuality and just nothing, being nothing. um, Time and time human civilization has shown, and more so with the Jewish people, that no, humanity is much more. It is transformative, it is progressive, and it does not subdue itself to the circumstances. And then history has also shown us that people who don't have that courage, who don't have this hope, who don't have this strong faith on Hashem and godliness, and have this mission to bring godliness into this world, into this mundane material world, they always put their burden to the Jewish people who are always striving, and they are happy in their striving, in their struggles, and the ability to stand in front of their challenges and say no, we're going to live through it, we're going to fight over it, and we're going to keep on taking the name of Hashem and keep on bringing the godliness and righteousness into this world. We will not be surrendered. We will not, we will fight. And that's what kept the Holocaust survivors going through all those atrocities and to live, because they knew that they were worth it. They were needed. They were needed to heal this planet and transform, and I didn't felt that people who don't have that courage to stand up and to fix their life, and rather than going on an easy way and blaming it all to the Jewish people, should not get a mileage, and I shouldn't make a video about that. But today what encouraged me to make this video was this decision, which I will put the link in the description box. I think it's Forbes. I read that Germany takes this ultimate, stance after this person. I would not even mention his name, but I would have to mention it in the thumbnail, in the that. I'm sorry, I apologize for that, but I have to mention it since I want everybody to watch this video. Not for me, but for this understanding of anti-Semitism and why people actually blame the Jewish people. um, this person was actually, and Germany takes this ultimate decision of barring this person from coming or visiting Germany. He was there last fall and attended, I don't know, some, some entertainment event or whatever, but he was there. But he then, in some social media program, or I don't know, podcast or something, he has said that, sorry, I had to change position. My sister was doing laundry, so I was getting distracted. So Germany has barred this person from entering or visiting Germany because of the comments that he made in regards to Hitler. It was wonderful to see. I mean, I've been to Germany, and I've seen how beautifully they have transformed, and redefined their thought process after World War II. And it will be, and I was just thinking that it's such a divine and profound understanding that only when you're connected with the divine, and when you are in that right, you know, mind frame, you can understand that, in World War II, if we look back, or if for example, if I am a German, I'm not, of course, but as a German, if you see and if you look back, what happened in World War II, and even in World War One, and the Holocaust, before Holocaust and after Holocaust, we must understand, as Germans, not just as a German, but I think as any other nationality who has been affected in World War II and World War One, we must see and understand and look back in the history and see who actually who won after World War. Okay, in World War One, there were some countries who benefited in terms of securing some amount of territory in Europe or whatever, or treaties or whatever. There were some gains. Let's just assume that. But after World War II and after Holocaust, my question is, who won? Who benefited, or who won, or who gained from that hate-filled ideology, and that mission of making sure every single Jew is eliminated from this planet? Who won? The guy who spouted anti-Semitic rhetoric against the Jews, and who was on a mission to eliminate all the Jews from Europe, and not just Europe, but the entire world, put a bullet in his head. Germans won. After the Allied forces, both the Russians and the Western Allied forces, when they entered Germany, we all know what happened to the German people, what havoc, what atrocities, what hate they had returned to the German people. So definitely German people didn't want either. Did America win? Really? Pearl Harbor, losing lives in Pearl Harbor, and that not only losing lives, but losing a certain amount of honor, that America is not invincible. And then those lives on the French beach of Normandy. Would any of the American journal call it as a gain or victory? The imperialist one, UK, France, I mean, they had to leave their colonies, and leave their colonies not just as in their making the right decision in their full senses, but they had to just run and make all those lousy decisions, cutting one country from this and that and this. In a havoc they left. So the French didn't want, the US didn't want, the British didn't want. Russian had the most highest casualties of all time. And their economy was just shattered. Germans didn't want. Oh, let's talk about the German allies, Turkey and Italy and Japan. Well, Japan got hit by 2 nuclear bombs. Italy was ruined again. Turkey was divided. Their apple of their eye and their most beloved apple of their eye and apple of their eye and their most prized achievement of conquering, Eretz Israel, and subjugating and persecuting the Jewish people and transporting them into Europe forcefully and implanting all the Arab communities, Arab nomadic communities, and all those poor people the Arabs didn't like, to resettle them, not resettle, actually settle them, forcefully settle them into Eretz Israel, and gathering all those poor and disliked Arab communities and nomads, all those communities, settle them into this land which the Jews think is holy to them and is the holiest place, just to mock them. Did they win? They lost that. So, Turkey, the Ottoman Empire came to an end, and their prized possession was out of their hands. Yeah, one can say the Saudi Arabs actually won, in the sense that they got Jordan, and despite they had like no claims, but they won Jordan, and they established their monarchy there, the Hashemite kingdom of Jordan. And then the Indians, the subcontinents who were out there, the Subhash Chandra Bose and the Gandhijis, who were all praised for Hitler and the Nazi, that beat the shit out of these French and Portuguese and British, especially because they have colonized us. And I kick their asses, and we're not gonna enlist in the British army, and we will not gonna fight for them. We're gonna support you guys and go against the British Raj and all that. It was broken into pieces. India was broken into pieces. Pakistan came into existence. Bangladesh later on, but India was cut into 3 pieces. Two nations were made, but 3 pieces, literally. So nobody won. And Jews, the victim, of course, Jews suffered a lot, because Jews suffered the most. And it started with anti-Semitism. It started with the hatred of those people who, under any difficult circumstances, whether it was emancipation and assimilation and emancipation, in the countries who were less anti-Semitic, and then those who segregated them and kind of asked them to leave or die. The total from those people, like from those places like England or the US, where emancipation and assimilation was the key, the challenges were different, but there were challenges. Jews were having relatively better lives in compared to Russia and Germany and Eastern Europe, because there it was like an imminent threat. Convert to Christianity, change your ways, stop calling yourself Jews, or ready to be persecuted and die. So, this community in all the colonialized regions and in Europe and every part of the world had faced their circumstances with courage, with a hope to live life, to preserve life. They had given their material things, whether it was their money or their property or whatever, but they wanted to just live and live as Jews, not as assimilated Jews, or not as, robbed of their identity. They wanted to have their identity and they stood up for it. They faced their circumstances and their challenges. And therefore, Hashem paid the price and gifted the Jewish people with Eretz Israel. So Eretz Israel and the declaration of the independence of Israel means not just, creating a country, but it is going back home, reclaiming our identity, that identity which created not only havoc for every single Jew on the planet and in the European and Middle Eastern continent especially and particularly, but that identity, that heritage we got back because we were so passionately and so, with utmost belief and faith, those people, those Holocaust survivors, they hold on to that identity. It might not be a very religious identity for them, but it was an emotional identity. They had lost their grandparents, their parents, their uncles, but they were Jews. All because they were Jews, that's why they lost their businesses, their lives, their family, everything. They lost everything in Europe, they lost everything in Middle Eastern countries, they lost everything in the world because they were Jewish. And because they were Jewish, they were gifted Eretz Israel by Hashem. All those enemies of Israel brought them back to where they belonged and who they were. They were Israelites and they had their home Israel. So they won. The people for whom this whole havoc and chaos started, and the people who were the most persecuted, and the people who were the first ones and were the core reason that Nazi Germany based their political narrative, eventually won, and the rest of the world suffered. Yeah, you can say America suffered less and Japan suffered more, Russia suffered more, and Germany suffered more, and French and this and that. You can do that. India can whine about its misery, although they were the accomplice of the Germans. And I would include Pakistan and India both because it was a one unit country. What do we gain? The world lost and the Jewish people won in the World War II. If we see it with our eyes open and with our sensitivities, rather than being insecure and helpless of our circumstances. So this gives me this message that people like these who might do this for the 5-minute fame, that if they would bash the Jews and be anti-Semitic, then the Arab world or the anti-Israel or anti-Jewish world would just make them their hero. But I salute Germany. I salute that country, that it has taken the most sensible and the most reasonable step after hearing that person praise a person who not only destroyed and made sure the entire world suffered, but Germans suffered the most, German women. He was talking about Aryan race. I watched a documentary on DW. DW, it is a German news, I think national news channel. And this documentary was about that Hitler wanted to preserve this Aryan DNA. And after World War II, when the Allied forces and Russians came in, they raped German women and they killed German men. And that DNA, now one cannot find this perfect strain of Dutch supreme Aryan DNA, because they were all just, I mean, they got married to, Russians or Americans or British or whatever, Allied forces. Some of the women had children out of wedlock of these soldiers. It was such a sad story to hear that the atrocities done to German citizens after the Nazi party and the German army was collapsed, and the Nazi army, a Nazi political regime was gone. It was hard for the German people to be to be with the Russians, under the Russian control, and then with the Allied forces. So I was just saying that look at how beautiful that country has beautifully that country has transformed. It has world's amazing and flourishing economy, and it stood up. It is stood up when a person who is insecure and probably, I don't know what's going on in his life, is saying Hitler was amazing. Those people say you're not allowed to come to our country because you don't know what we have been through. You don't know what world has been through. I mean, it's such an amazing way to see this, and this encouraged me to make this video. And I know, as long as usual, my video is long, and I don't know how you guys would take it. But think about it. Think about what the world gained after World War II on a mission to eradicate every single Jew from this planet. And look at yourself, that where this world stands, and where are these people who had nothing when they arrived in Eretz Israel. And look at that nation. Look at those people. Even see those people living in the US, and people who were in Russia. Jewish community in Russia built Russia. It breaks my heart. It kills me when, I see Indian reporting and all those, Putin lovers and Russian supporter of Russian aggression supporters in India and every other place, whoever supports the invasion of Ukraine, when they make it a Jewish issue, because it is the Jewish president and the Jewish, prime minister. That's why this war, and that's why the oil prices, that's why the inflation, that's why the economy is not working. I mean, come on, it's easier to blame the Jews. It's easier to even blame the Chinese for COVID. Rightly so. No, I'm kidding. But try blaming the Indians. The vice president of the United States of America has a mother who was born in India, who lived majority of her life in India, and then she came for her higher studies. And nobody is talking about David G having control over the superpower of the world, the United States of America. Rishi Sunak, who had Indian ancestry and who speaks Punjabi, who understands and speaks Hindi, has Indian origins, has become the PM of UK. Now, people are not saying that Indians are taking over the world. When Indian entrepreneurs are becoming or taking over all those tech industries and getting richer, all those Gujaratis and all those Ambanis and Andanis are making handful of money and gaining all those economic, institutions, then we're not saying that Hindus are taking over, Indians are taking over the world. India has a monopoly over media in the US, in UK, and in Israel also. Hanania Naftali's girlfriend is, of Indian origin. Elon Musk has two children with Shivani. I think, yeah, that's her name. We're not saying that Indians are taking over, how they're penetrating like serpent into people, into big places and big enterprises. I dare people like this person or these Black Lives Matter activists talk about that sort of thing, that India is taking over, Hindus are taking over the world, or Arabs are taking over with their, oil money and this money and that money. They're taking over the world with their narrative, and by and large sufficient support for Palestinians as compared to Israeli Zionist narrative. Nobody has the guts and balls to say that. They only take it out on the Jewish people, because historically we the Jewish people have been more tolerant, more resilient, and it doesn't bother us if this person or any other person spouts hate towards us. We will keep on doing what we're doing, and we will keep on excelling, and we will keep on becoming stronger and stronger. And the world must know that what it gains from anti Semitism and how much it loses from anti Semitism. Thank you very much.